If you're sitting OET writing, there's a strong chance your task will be a referral letter, and an equally strong chance the first marks you lose will be in your introduction. Let's walk through exactly how to handle it. I'm Bailey from E2. I've spent 13 years teaching English, many of them working with healthcare-bound learners just like you. In this video, I'll walk you through what a referral letter is, the 5 paragraphs every strong referral has, the 4 common pitfalls to watch for, and a full sample letter built from real OET-style case notes. Stick around to the end and I'll give you a free structure map you can take into your next practice session. First, what is a referral letter? A referral is a letter from one healthcare professional to another requesting specialist input, further investigation, or ongoing care. The recipient is almost always a doctor, usually a specialist, sometimes a GP. In your case notes, you'll typically see a patient who's been under your care who now needs something you can't or shouldn't manage alone. That something is your purpose. It might be a specialist consultation, urgent admission, diagnostic workup, or ongoing management by a different professional. There's also a subtype to be aware of, the urgent referral. Same structure, but the order of information shifts. In an urgent referral, the request goes higher in the letter because the reader needs to act quickly. We'll come back to that in the structure section. Before we get into the structure, here's what your assessor is reading for. 6 criteria. Purpose. Is the reason for writing immediately clear and developed? Content. Is the information accurate, complete, and appropriate? Conciseness and clarity. Have you left out everything that isn't relevant? Genre and style. Is the tone formal and matched to your reader? Organization and layout. Is the letter logically paragraphed and easy to read? And language. Are the grammar, vocabulary, spelling, and punctuation accurate? In referral letters, 3 criteria tend to make the biggest difference. Purpose, because referrals require a clear request. Content, because referrals require selecting only the relevant history. And conciseness and clarity, because referrals are short and bloated letters score lower on this criterion. Now, the structure. A strong referral letter has 5 paragraphs, and in most cases, they appear in this order. This is a shape you adapt to your case notes. Understand it, but don't memorize it word for word. Paragraph 1 is your introduction. It should be 1 or 2 sentences. The first sentence states who you're writing about, who they are in 1 clinical phrase, and what you want from the reader. The second sentence, if you need it, gives a single piece of supporting context. A strong example? I'm writing to refer Mrs. Patel, a 58-year-old woman with worsening chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, for respiratory specialist review. Paragraph 2 is the relevant medical history. Note the word relevant. This is where the conciseness criterion comes alive. You don't list every condition the patient has ever had. You list the conditions that affect what this specialist needs to do. If you're referring for respiratory review, prior pulmonary conditions, smoking history, and current medications matter. The hip replacement they had 8 years ago does not. Paragraph 3 covers the current presentation. What's happening now that triggered the referral? Symptoms, exam findings, recent investigations, and any treatment you've already tried. This paragraph tells your reader what state the patient is in today. Paragraph 4 is your specific request. This is the paragraph many candidates rush, but it's worth slowing down for. State exactly what you want the receiving specialist to do. Assess, investigate, manage, follow up. If there's a timeline, include it. If there's something the patient needs urgently, name it. Paragraph 5 is your sign-off. 1 short, polite sentence offering further information if needed, then your closing. Yours sincerely if you've named the recipient, yours faithfully if you haven't, and your job title. Let's take a look at this with a complete set of case notes, the kind you'll actually see on test day. The task asks you to refer Mr. James Ortiz, a 64-year-old man, to a cardiologist. Notice how much is on this page. His occupation, his hobbies, his alcohol intake, a wrist fracture, cardiac surgery, his BMI, a full medication list, today's examination findings, blood results, and ECG. That's deliberate. The OET gives you more information than you need because part of what's being assessed is whether you can tell the difference. So the first thing I do in my 5-minute reading time is ask one question of every line. Does this change what the cardiologist will do? Chest pain on exertion, his cardiac risk factors, the family history of early heart disease, and an abnormal ECG? That's the spine of the letter. Those go in. The cycling, the garden, the wrist he fractured in 2017, the cataract operation, none of that changes cardiology management, so none of it appears. Being thorough isn't including everything, it's including the right things. Introduction. I'm writing to refer Mr. Ortiz, a 64-year-old gentleman, for cardiology assessment of suspected angina. Relevant history. Mr. Ortiz has a long-standing history of hypertension, treated with amlodipine, and hypercholesterolemia, treated with atorvastatin. There's a strong family history of ischemic heart disease, with his father having a myocardial infarction at the age of 58. Current presentation. Over the past 3 weeks, Mr. Ortiz has reported episodic central chest pain on moderate exertion, relieved by rest within 5 minutes. There are no associated symptoms of breathlessness, syncope, or radiation. An ECG performed yesterday revealed minor ST segment changes in the lateral leads. Specific request. In view of his symptoms, risk factors, and ECG findings, I would appreciate your assessment and consideration of further investigation, including an exercise stress test or coronary angiography as appropriate. Sign off. Please do not hesitate to contact me should you require any further information. Yours sincerely, Doctor. One quick note on that sign-off. On the real test, you're told not to make up names, so you sign off with your role, not a personal name. Here, that's the referring doctor. The case notes always tell you who you're writing as. Use that. That's the whole method, and it works for every letter type, not just this one. Read the case notes once for the story, then read them again asking what your reader actually needs. Build your paragraphs around that and leave the rest on the page. Once you can do that reliably, the only thing between you and a strong letter is a handful of specific habits that quietly cost candidates marks. Let's look at the 4 that come up most often in referral letters. Pitfall 1 is the generic request paragraph. Some letters end with something like, please assess and manage as necessary. That's not a request. It's too open-ended. State exactly what you want. Review, investigation, ongoing management, urgent admission. And if you've prepared the patient for a specific procedure, name it. Pitfall 2 is including too much history. The relevant history paragraph is one of the most common places to lose marks on conciseness. If you're referring to cardiology, the patient's psoriasis from a decade ago doesn't change what the cardiologist will do. Leave it out. Pitfall 3 is underplaying urgency. If your case notes describe an urgent presentation, such as severe symptoms, acute deterioration, or red flags, your referral has to communicate that urgency. The phrase urgent referral belongs in your introduction, and your request paragraph should specify the time frame. Burying urgency in paragraph 3 is something assessors notice. Pitfall 4 is using an overly deferential tone. Specialists are colleagues, not authorities. I would be most grateful for your professional opinion sounds differential and uses words you don't need. I would appreciate your review is professional and concise and tends to score higher on genre and style. Let's look at the full letter again. Pay attention to 4 things as I read. The purpose is clear in the opening sentence. Refer for cardiology assessment of suspected angina. The history paragraph contains only conditions the cardiologist needs. The presentation paragraph has clinical detail without irrelevant social information. And the request paragraph Name specific next steps. Every paragraph earns its place. Dear Dr. Chang, I'm writing to refer Mr. Ortiz, a 64-year-old gentleman, for cardiology assessment of suspected angina. Mr. Ortiz has a long-standing history of hypertension, treated with amlodipine, and hypercholesterolemia, treated with atorvastatin. There is a strong family history of ischemic heart disease, with his father having a myocardial infarction at the age of 58. Over the past 3 weeks, Mr. Ortiz has reported episodic central chest pain on moderate exertion, relieved by rest within 5 minutes. There are no associated symptoms of breathlessness, syncope, or radiation. An ECG performed yesterday revealed minor ST segment changes in the lateral leads. In view of his symptoms, risk factors, and ECG findings, I would appreciate your assessment and consideration of further investigation, including an exercise stress test or coronary angiography as appropriate. Please do not hesitate to contact me should you require any further information. Yours sincerely, and then your role. Quick recap: 5 paragraphs, introduction, relevant history, current presentation, request, and sign-off. 3 criteria where most of the score difference sits: purpose, content, and conciseness. And 4 pitfalls to watch for: generic requests, too much history, underplaying urgency, and an overly deferential tone. I've made a 1-page referral letter structure map, paragraph by paragraph, with the relevant prompts I use on every letter. It's free, and the link is in the description. Take it into your next practice session. If you want to keep going, sign up to e2language.com for free. There we have practice materials, mock tests, and tutorials from expert teachers. We're also coming out with a video for every OET letter type on this channel: discharge, transfer, and update letters. Tell me in the comments which letter type is causing you the most difficulty. I read every comment. And if you found this helpful, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Bailey, and I'll see you in the next one.